Fannie Moore, interviewed at Asheville, North Carolina, interviewed by Marjorie Jones, age when interviewed 88. Nowadays, when I hear folks a growling and a grumbling about not having this and that, I just think, what would they done if they be brought up on the Moore plantation? The Moore plantation belonged to Marsh Jim Moore in Moore, South Carolina. The Moores had owned the same plantation and the same niggers and the children for years back. When Marsh Jim's pappy died, he leave the whole thing to Marsh Jim. If he take care of his mammy, she sure was a ripjack. She say niggers didn't need nothing to eat. They just like animals, not like other folks. She whipped me many times with a cowhide till I was black and blue. Marsh Jim's wife was Mary Anderson. She was the sweetest woman I ever saw. She was always good to every nigger on the plantation. Her mother was Harriet Anderson, and she visited the missus for a long time on the farm. All the little niggers liked to work for her. She never talked mean, just smile, that sweet smile, and talk in the softest tone. And when she laughed, she sounded just like the little stream back of the spring house, gurgling past the rocks, and her hair all white and curly. I could remember her always. Marsh Jim owned the biggest plantation in the whole country, just thousands acres of land, and the old Tiger River and running right through the middle of the plantation. On one side of the river stood the big house where the white folks lived, and on the other side stood the quarters. The big house was a pretty thing, all painted white, and standing in a patch of oak trees. I can't remember how many rooms in that house, but powerful many. Of course, it was built when the Moores had such large families. Marsh Jim only had 5 children, not 12 like his mammy had. They was Andrew and Tom, then Harriet, Nan, and Nettie Sue. Harriet was just like her granny Anderson. She was good to everybody. She get the little niggers down and teach them they Sunday school lesson. If old Marsh Jim's mammy catch her, she sure raise torment. She make life just as hard for the niggers as she can. The quarters just long row of cabins daubed with dirt. Everyone in the family lived in one big room. In one end was a big fireplace. This had to heat the cabin and do the cooking too. We cooked in a big pot hung on a rod over the fire and baked the corn poon in the ashes, or else put it in the skillet and cover the lid with coals. We always have plenty wood to keep us warm. That is, if we have time to get it out of the woods. My granny, she cooked for us chillins while our mammy away in the field. They wasn't much cooking to do, just make corn poon and bring in the milk. She have a big wooden bowl with enough wooden spoons to go around. She put the milk in the bowl and break it up. Then she put the bowl in the middle of the floor and all the childrens grab a spoon. My mammy, she work in the field all day in peace and quiet all night. Then she have to spin enough thread to make 4 cuts for the white folks every night. Why sometimes I never go to bed, have to hold the light for her to see by. She have to piece quills for the white folks too. Why they is a scar on my arm, yet where my brother let the pine drip on me, which pine was all daylight we ever had. My brother was a holding the pine so's I can help mammy tack the quilt, and he go to sleep and let it drop. I never see how my mammy stand such hard work. She stand up for her chillins though. The old overseer, he hate my mammy 'cause she fight him for beating her chillins. Why she gets more whippings for that than anything else. She have 12 chillins. I remember I see the three oldest stand in the snow up to the knees to split rails while the overseer stand off and grin. My mammy, she troubled in her heart about the way they treated. Every night she prayed for the Lord to get her and her children out of the place. One day she plowing in the cotton field, all sudden like she let out big yell. Then she started singing and a shouting and a whopping and a hollering. Then it seemed she plowed all the harder. When she come home, Marsh Jim's mammy say, "What all that going on in the field? You think we send you out there just to whop and yell? No sirree. We put you out there to work, and you sure better work, else we get the overseer to cowhide you old black back." My mammy just grinned all over her black wrinkled face and say, "I's saved. The Lord done tell me I saved. Now I know the Lord will show me the way. I ain't gonna to grieve no more, no matter how much you all done beat me and my children. The Lord will show me the way, and someday we never be slaves." Old Granny Moore grabbed the cowhide and slashed Mammy across the back, but Mammy never yelled. She just go back to the field and singing. My mammy grieved lots over Brother George, who died with the fever. Granny, she doctored him as best she could. Every time she get waves from the white folks' kitchen, my mammy never get chance to see him, except when she get home in the evening. George, he just lie. One day, I look at him and he has such a peaceful look on his face. I think he sleep and just let him alone. Long in the evening, I think I tried to wake him. I touched him on the face, but he was dead. Mammy never knew till she come at night. Poor Mammy, she kneel by the bed and cry her heart out. Old Uncle Allen, he make pine box for him and carry him into the graveyard over the hill. My mammy just plow and cry as she watch him put George in the ground. My pappy, he was a blacksmith. He shoe all the horses on the plantation. He worked so hard he have no time to go to the field. His name was Stephen Moore. Marsh Jim called him Stephen Andrew. He was sold to the Moors, and his mammy too. She was brought over from Africa. She never could speak plain. All her life she been a slave. White folks never recognized them any more than if they was a dog. It was a terrible sight to see the speculators come to the plantation. They would go through the fields and buy the slaves they wanted. Marsh Jim never sell Pappy or Mammy or any of the childrens. He always liked Pappy. When the speculator come, all the slaves started shaking. No one know who is it going. Then sometimes they take them and sell them on the block. The breed women always bring more money than the rest, even the men. When they put her on the block, they put all her children around her to show folks how fast she can have childrens. When she sold, her family never see her again. She never know how many children she have. Sometimes she have colored childrens and sometimes white. Tain't no use to say anything, cause if she do, she just get whipped. Why, on the Moore plantation, Aunt Chinny, everybody call her Aunt Chinny. have 2 children by the overseer. The overseer name was Hill. He was as mean as the devil. When Aunt Chinny not do what he asked, he tell Granny Moore, old Granny, call Aunt Chinny to the kitchen and make her take her clothes off. Then she beat her till she just black and blue. Many boys and girls marry their own brothers and sisters and never know the difference. Least they get to talking about their parents and where they used to live. The niggers always have to get pass to go anywhere off the plantation. They get the pass from the masses or the missus. Then when the patty rollers come, they had to show the pass to them. If you had no pass, they strip you and beat you. I remember one time there was a dance at one of the houses in the quarters. All the niggers was a laughing and they patting their feet and they singing, but they was a few that didn't. The patty rollers shoved the door open and start grabbing us. Uncle Joe's son, he decided they was one time to die, and he start to fight. He said he tired standing so many beatings. He just can't stand no more. The patty rollers started beating him, and he started fighting. Oh Lordy, it was terrible. They whipped him with a cowhide for a long time. Then one of them take a stick and hit him over the head, and he just bust his head wide open. The poor boy fell on the floor, just a moaning and a groaning. The patty rollers just whipped about half dozen other niggers and sent them home and leave us with the dead boy. None of the niggers have any learning. We're never allowed to as much as pick up a piece of paper. My daddy slipped and get a Webster book, and then he take it out in the field and he learned to read. The white folks afraid to let the children learn anything. They afraid they get too smart and be harder to manage. They never let them know anything about anything. Never have any church. If you go, you sit in the back of the white folks' church, but the niggers slip off and pray and hold prayer meetings in the woods. Then they turn down a big wash pot and prop it up with a stick to drown out the sound of the singing. I remember some of the songs we used to sing. One of them went something like this. Hark from the tomb, a doleful sound. My ears hear a tender cry. A living man come through the ground, where we may shortly lie. Here in this clay may be your bed. In spite of all your toil, let all the wise bow. Reverent head must lie as slow as ours. Back in those times, there wasn't no way to put away fruit and things for winter like there is today. In the fall of the year, it certainly was a busy time. We peeled bushels of apples and peaches to dry. They put up lots of brandied peaches too. They done, they peeled the peaches and cut them up. Then they put a layer of peaches in a crock, then a layer of sugar, then another layer of peaches until their crock was full. Then they sealed the jar by putting a cloth over the top, then a layer of paste, then another cloth, then another layer of paste. They keep their meat about the same way folks do today, except they had to smoke it more. Since salt was so scarce back in that day, they canned most of the other fruits and put it in the same kind of jars that they put the peaches in. They string up long strings of beans and let them dry and cook them with fatback in the winter. Folks back then never hear tell of all the ailments the folks have now. There were no doctors, just use roots and bark for teas. of all kinds. My old granny used to make tea out of dogwood bark and give it to us chillins when we have a cold. Else she make a tea out of wild cherry bark, penny royal, or horse hound. My goodness, but they was bitter. We do most anything to get out of taking the tea, but there wasn't no use. Granny just get you by the collar, hold your nose, and you just swallow it or get strangled. When the baby have the colic, she gets rat's bane and make a syrup and put a little sugar in it and boil it. Then soon as it could, she give it to the baby. For stomach ache, she give us snake root. Sometimes she makes tea. Other times she just cut it up in little pieces and make you eat one or two of them. When you have fever, she wrap you up in cabbage leaves or ginseng leaves. This make the fever go. When the fever got too bad, she take the husks off the hog that had been killed and parch 'em in the ashes, and then she beat 'em up and make a tea. This was the most terrible of all. The year before the war started, Marsh Jim died. He was out in the pasture picking up cow loads and throwing them in the garden, and he just dropped over. I hate to see Marsh Jim go. He not such a bad man. After he died, his boys Tom and Andrew take charge of the plantation. They think they run things different from their daddy, but they just get started. When the war come, Marsh Tom and Marsh Andrew both have to go. My pappy, he go along with them to do their cooking. My pappy, he say that someday he ran 4 or 5 miles with the Yankees behind him before he can stop to do any cooking. Then when he stopped, he cooked with the bullets a falling all around the kettles. He say he walked on dead men just like he walking on the ground. Some of the men be dead, some moaning and some groaning, but nobody pay no attention 'cause the Yankees keep it coming. One day the Yankees come awful close. Marsh Andrew have the Confederate flag in his hand. He raise it high in the air. Pappy say he yelled for him to put the flag down 'cause the Yankees was a coming closer and was a going to capture him anyway. But Marsh Andrew just hold the flag up and run behind a tree. The Yankee soldiers just take one shot at him, and that was the last of him. My pappy bring him home. The family put him in alcohol. One day I went to see him, and there he was, a swimming round in the water. Most of his hair done come off through. He buried at Nazareth. I could go right back to the graveyard if I was there. Then my pappy go back to stay with Marsh Tom. Marsh Tom was just wounded. If he hadn't had a Bible in his pocket, the bullet go clear through his heart. But you all know no bullet ain't going through the Bible. No, you can't shoot through God's word. Pappy, he bring Marsh Tom home and take care of him till he well. Marsh Tom give Pappy a horse and wagon 'cause he say he saved his life. Many times the soldiers come through the plantations and they load up the wagon with everything they find. Lasses, hams, chickens. Sometimes they give part of it to the niggers, but the white folks take it away when they get gone. The white folks hide all the silverware from the soldiers. They afraid they take it when they come. Sometimes they make us tell if they think we know. After the war, Pappy go back to work on the plantation. He make his own crop on the plantation, but the money was no good then. I played with many a Confederate dollar. He sure was happy that he was free. Mammy, she shout for joy and say her prayers were answered. Pappy get pretty feeble, but he worked till just before he died. He made patch of cotton with a hoe. There was enough cotton in the patch to make a bale. Pappy died when he 104 years old. Mammy, she lived to be 105. After the war, the Ku Klux broke out. Oh, they was mean in the long white robes. They scared the niggers to death. They keep close watch on them, afraid they try to do something. They have long horns and big eyes and mouths. They never go round much in the day, just night. They take the poor niggers away in the woods and beat 'em and hang 'em. The niggers was afraid to move much less try to do anything. They never know what to do. They have no learning, have no money. All they can do was stay on the same plantation till they can do better. We live on the same plantation till the children all gone and Mammy and Pappy both die. Then we leave. I don't know where any of my people are now. I knows I was born in 1849. I was 88 years old the 1st of September.